who could be watching this, who weren't even born when I uploaded my first YouTube video.
So that's my sync point. Hi. So 3 days left. I played with the tweeter some more. Well, maybe I can get a measurement up, but yeah, that will be a problem. I have to go to the living room and I'm stuck to like some wires and such. So that's not gonna happen. So anyhow, I need to make something that is a companion to the tweeter. And well, let me grab a. Oh, let me grab the Dayton thingy. Here you can see how many tweeters I tried. So don't think it's gonna be that easy. It's all tweeters here. But there's the actual mini monitor. And why I opened this is because, well, the measurements of the woofer layout is in here, which is helpful, of course, and the height. Now, for this tweeter, because it's quite directional, it needs to be a little bit higher. Still, I might have to tilt the stand, depending on where people are sitting and what kind of listening room it is, because it's beaming right, well, pretty hard, not super hardcore, but still it beams. So I might have to like jack up the stand. But if I just make the speaker larger, much larger, it becomes very ugly in dimensions. There's like this, I don't know, I probably am not using the golden rule. But still, some sizes do not compute. So what I drew up right now is kind of a squarish thingy, and it's like so 45 centimeters compared to the original small Dayton thingy, which is I believe 40. Yeah, well, around 40. So this is 5 centimeters taller, which is not insane, but, well, it is some. It also is a little bit wider, and the problem with that is that the depth becomes less and less. And I know speakers in the 70s and 60s, maybe even 80s, no, I believe 60s and 70s, or if you bought a really cheap speaker, they're like half as deep as they are wide, which is not very common nowadays. So the intention is to round this off, these corners, a little bit. So this is the front of the speaker. So this is the layout. The tweeter is here in a different, well, separated compartment. I did not show that, but I put my tweeters in some IKEA boxes or something and see what happened and see if I can damp out the wave that's coming back, and I can, and it helps the low end quite a bit. So this time is the first time I'll have the tweeter in an enclosure instead of open baffle. So fingers crossed. I am gonna use the Dayton DS135, and the reason for that is I have still 2 of them. That's one good reason. And I looked up all the drivers I have, and I have like some SB acoustics which use like 45 liters of enclosure, which is way too big. I mean, this is around 7 normally. So, you know, that's not gonna work. I tried the tank band subwoofer, which is, well, it's in the name. It is a subwoofer. Above 100 hertz, everything goes to shit. So I don't want to match that with a tweeter, because it still has to play like at least 500 or 600 hertz above that, maybe more. and it sounds terrible. I have a problem with measuring woofers in my room. I don't know why. Well, I do kind of know why. It's probably my ceiling that resonates, but you cannot locate it. So you hear a resonance, you hear distortion, and you have no clue if it's the woofer. It sounds like it is the woofer, and it still might be, but it might also be the ceiling, which is aluminium slats. So today I tried several woofers. I tried the, yeah, shall we look them up? Yeah, okay, wait, will do. Sound imports. So I tried. Why is it always going to GRS products? I don't want GRS. SB Acoustics. I tried a 6-inch woofer because the tweeter goes so low. You could easily use a 8-inch woofer, by the way. You could easily use a 6-inch or 8-inch woofer, which is kind of funny. Normally you cannot. It gives problems. So I thought, well, that would be nice, you know, a monitor that has a pretty huge woofer. It is the one that I was given. It's this one. And it's nice, cool, but they do not show a distortion plot. And around 300 up till 600, there is quite a nasty distortion. But it might be my room. I'm not sure yet. So this one uses like 40 liters or 45 liters. So it's not, I cannot use it. Maybe an open baffle, but it's also not the best open baffle candidate. So I skipped that one. Then I tried a woofer that I had still laying around, a more expensive one. It's a smaller size. It's the 6-inch, which is also a very nice size. Let me take a look. This one, but then the 8 ohm version. I'm not sure if they have it. It's B70 NRX C35. Yeah, it should be this one or this one. Maybe the same. No, they are twice. It's this one. Also looking good, but it's, well, not really. It's really a mid-range, as you can see. It drops off at 100 Hertz, so not of use. And I only have one second hand, and I could buy a second one, but it's like 80 euros or something. What is it? 71, okay. But it's a, you know, I don't want to spend 71 euros for a mid-range. And they might not match even, or just look this similar, which is kind of, I don't like that. Not working. So then I thought the tank band, which is the worst of all, because it's really a subwoofer. This beast. It's really nice for a subwoofer, and I have plans for these. And I did not want to throw in 100 euro woofers in this contraption. But the biggest problem is this. It's very low efficient, which is usually not a big deal for me, but here there is a problem. And in the real measurement, so not from their side, it's way worse. And the distortion around 200 or 200 to 600 is insane. That's exactly the crossover frequency, so I'm not gonna use them. Too bad. They're really meant for subwoofer duty. 150 Hertz, they will perform well. Above that, they suck big time. So I'm going back to my DS135, and in this case the paper cone, if it's still available. Let's see. Yeah, because the other one is DS135A, I believe. So this is the paper cone, I think. Yes, has this kind of... It's also not the cheapest, it's also not very expensive. I mean, some people throw around massive amounts of euros for a woofer. I usually do not do that. But still, it also has problems around 400 to 600 hertz. So by now I'm thinking it's not possible that even woofers that I looked up in distortion measured really good. And in my case, they actually do not. So there is something, yeah, I think it's my ceiling even. But it's weird, even if I measure really close, it still comes up. And if this is true, like if this is correct, then most woofers just suck. What is kind of weird, if I measure it from a planar magnetic, it's not there. So, yeah. Anyhow, this is the one I'm using. It's 86.6 dB, 8 ohms. My tweeter at the moment is around 85 if it were 3.7 ohm, which is, it's not, it's like 1.8 ohm. And my amplifier does not care. But yeah, I'll have to pad it like 8-9 dB. Also, this 86 is stated around here, where it's most efficient. So if you want to have this a little bit flat, you'll lose all of this. Anyhow, using WinISD, the old one, the very simple one, and I like the very simple one, to be fair. So I'm creating a new project. I put in the DS135 Dayton in my library. So I choose own drivers and I choose the Dayton. I'll click next. Drivers 1. Well, I use only one. Placement normal, not isobaric. With 2 could be very interesting, but it becomes even smaller. And I'll go vented. So this is what it comes up with. I want to extend this a little bit lower. Normally it would not do this, but in this case I need the height. So I went for 10 liters, which is quite a bit, and you get a hump here. So I tuned the base port a little bit lower. I believe it was 52 or something. And you can see there is a hump and then there is a slight drop, but we're talking half dB. I mean, no one is gonna hear that, and you need a little bit extra down low. So now the -3 dB point is 47, which is rather decent. You cannot play like really loud with this, but it was never the intention. Now for port, as you can see here, this is gonna be the port. So it has to be 1.4 centimeters high and almost 16 centimeters wide. We choose square. It's set to meter. We want millimeters. Was it 159? Nope. Oh, 16.6. Then we go 14. This gives you a port length of 18.7 centimeters or 187 millimeters. The lower this number is, the less scuffing you get. So if a port is really tiny and you put a lot of air through it, you will hear like pff, pff, pff noises, which is quite annoying. So you want this number to be as low as possible. Now you could make the vent, let's say 28 millimeters. So if you made this 28 millimeters, so a big huge vent, the problem is your length will be doubled. Hey, that's kind of weird. It's not even 187, 435. That's kind of weird. It's not correct, I believe. I thought, it should be like double, I believe. But maybe there's something I'm missing. So, in any case, you want it to be as big as possible, but it means the length will be much bigger as well. So I might even get away with like 50 millimeters, and then the vent becomes 200 millimeters in depth. Now the question is that possible? Because I use a slotted vent, it depends all on the depth of the loudspeaker. So I'll put it back to 14 for now. I'll go to box, and this is a very nice feature. So you had put in your amount of liters and your tuning frequency. You can go to box, and in this case I'll use 12 millimeter, god damn it, 12 millimeter of birch ply. Now I do know my width, I already decided on the width and the height. So width is 19, which is 190 millimeter. I want everything in millimeter, come on. Not yard, are you crazy? And the height I decided as well. Now the woofer part is only up till here. So that includes the 12 millimeter of wood, dividing the woofer part from the tweeter part. So this is 255. Here I use a 1:10 ratio, so that's why it's measuring 2550, which is well, more. So it is 255. Then you can just click depth, and it will calculate the depth it needs to get 10 liters. Now if we look at the vent, so I'll say okay. If you look at the vent, it's almost 190 millimeters, which should fit easily in the depth. I have well, almost 90 millimeters to spare, minus the wood, which is 12 millimeters. So it's enough. It's enough, I think. So that was like really basic how I design a simple woofer enclosure. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it. That's the way I do it. And I'm not looking at you could like use the newer WinISD, and you could say, well, I want to reach 110 dBs, and then you can tune it for that, and then you lose a lot of low end. That's not a big deal for me. I just want something that sounds decent on normal levels, and I could add more woofers if I like, or whatever. So yeah. So this is the front, this is where the tweeter is sitting. Then there is a dividing piece of wood. Then there's the woofer, and this is going to be bracing. And then the base port. The nice thing about this kind of base port is that it's actual bracing at the same time as it is a, well, base port, slotted port. I could add this like here and use 2 pieces of wood. Then it would be maybe even a better brace, but I think this is good enough. This is the back side, just where the terminals are gonna be, so they'll end up in the right compartment, which would be very nice. And from that I can just look how wide the inner pieces need to be, and I'll probably take some 1 or 1.5 millimeter slop, just to be sure, and just add it with foamy glue. It's your savior. And these parts are just gonna be the size I measure here. So yeah, this is 2D. I'll have to convert it to like 3D to have all the dimensions of the different pieces, but this is in short what it's gonna be, and I hopefully can round off these corners. So I might actually even make the output on this base port a little bit smaller. Not sure how much that influences the resonance or resonance frequency. And the reason for that is that I want to use a round over bit that is like, I don't know, 200 millimeters, like 2 centimeters or something. At least something large. And here I might not have the clearance. So I might add like 10 millimeter here, extra wood. Oh. Something like this. And then this is gonna be the port. I don't think that's a huge problem. So yeah, short video. And well, hopefully tomorrow I can make some dust. See you next time. Bye bye.